Please be seated. As you'll recall, last week at this service, Father Mike shared that he has been diagnosed with a very, very serious type of cancer, and that, God bless him, he is choosing to live into this challenging phase of his life while continuing to minister to us as long as he can. I watched as those present registered what Father Mike just shared. We were collectively stunned and saddened. Many eyes filled with tears. Since then, many of us have found ourselves searching for a reason why such a thing could befall such a good and faithful man. We find ourselves wrestling once again with the ageless question of how a good and loving God can allow such a thing to happen. Now, at this point, I'm certain, I can just sense it, that Father Mike over here is muttering under his breath for me to stop being so damn maudlin. So I promise to lighten up. But I do believe that as we begin to walk with Father Mike on this journey, we need to collectively spend some time wrestling with why there is such suffering in the world. Let me begin with a story about a man who thought he found the answer. He was on his deathbed and slipping in and out of a coma for several months, yet his wife faithfully stayed by his bedside every single day. One day, when he came to, he motioned for her to come nearer. As she sat by him, he whispered, eyes full of tears, "You know what? You have been with me through all the bad times. When I got fired, you were there to support me. When my business failed, you were there. When we lost our house, you stayed right there. When my health started failing, you were still by my side. When I got shot, you were by my side. You know what?" "What, dear?" she asked gently, smiling as her heart began to fill with warmth. The ailing husband said, "I think you're bad luck." You know, in some ways, this curmudgeon's his reasoning is akin to what so many have done throughout history. That is, lay blame or responsibility for suffering on someone else. We see Jesus confronting this when religious authorities attributed a man's blindness to the sins of his parents. And we see this in many church traditions and doctrines, attributing the cause of illness to some supposed past sin committed by the afflicted sick person. The Episcopal tradition does not share this belief. But why? The question remains, does our loving God allow suffering? Theologians usually categorize evil and its resultant suffering as either natural evil or moral evil. Natural evils are bad states of affairs which do not result from intentions or negligence, of human beings. Hurricanes, toothaches, and most cancers are examples of natural evils. By contrast, moral evils result from the intentions or negligence of human beings. Murder, lying, and the promotion of cancer-causing cigarettes are examples of moral evils. Today, let us save the problem of moral evils for another day and limit our thoughts to the problem of natural evils, represented here by the cancer that Father Mike is afflicted with. Father Mike's kind of suffering comes from the fact that God's ongoing creation of the universe is dynamic. The evidence is overwhelming that God fully allows and does not stop the natural disasters of drought, flood, hurricane, tornado, tsunami, plague, famine, and painful diseases of every kind, many of which people mistakenly call acts of God, as if killing scores of his beloved human creations is part of some nefarious punishment or plan, portraying our loving God as some sort of monster. So what are we to do with this? I'm afraid I have no simple, pat answers to offer. No neat packages of faith with Bible references to prove them. I do have some suggestions to share. Thoughts reflecting where I have arrived in coming to grips with this difficult aspect of our lived reality, the presence of suffering. For me, there is a workable and loving way through this. It is that God's created enterprise is not a Disneyland or a fairy tale, but an endeavor that is frankly too huge, too complex for the human mind to comprehend. Astronomers analyzing images from the Kepler spacecraft and Hubble and Webb telescopes now report that there could be as many as 40 billion habitable Earth-sized planets in our galaxy, and that there are at least 100 billion galaxies living on this little blue ball. We are only a tiny, tiny part of something way, way bigger. Something that started billions of years before the evolution of humans and will continue with or without the presence of human beings in their present material form. While we cannot possibly fully comprehend it, it is an ongoing endeavor that is rooted in a creator that loves, in a creator that has chosen to have us play a part in it, and in a creator that has revealed to us through the biblical record and the continuing revelations of his Spirit within us that we have an everlasting essence that transcends our biological existence. We call it our soul. For Christians, this is indeed the good news and the big picture reality that enables us to be thankful for the joy, love, and beauty we enjoy, while temporarily living in a world whose natural dynamism occasionally leads to suffering. Through us, God mitigates the suffering inherent in what he has and continues to create. Vaccines save millions of lives. Buildings are fitted to withstand earthquakes. New agriculture feeds those plagued by drought. And new approaches to treating cancers, like Father Mike's, continue to be developed. In doing so, in joining God in his creative endeavor, God says to us, in the poetic words of Pamela Steinke, dance with me. Take my hand, the hand of a lover, and let me lead you in the dance. I know all the steps, all the dips, and I will lead you. Run with me, little one. Let your feet carry you across lush meadows, down unknown, breathtakingly beautiful paths. I have your hand, and I will take you if you let me. Dance with me. Run with me. Curl up like a tired little child in my arms and let me rest you. Never fear what is out there, because I am in here with you. My friends, yes, God's ongoing creative endeavor involves occasional suffering. It is what it is. Beauty, butterflies, toothaches, and tsunamis. The good news is that our part in this is to be God's way of mitigating the suffering, while our everlasting souls eventually transcend it. And I say amen to that.